Engine 23, Engine 22, Medic 23, 4991 Bath, 4991 Bath, on injury accident with an entrapment. This will be an emergency response at 308.
Hi, I'm Kurt with Genesis Rescue Systems. Today we're going to be looking at the lineup of spreaders from Genesis Rescue Systems. A couple of key points that I want you to keep in mind when you're evaluating a spreader for your department are, number one, ergonomics, such as balance and weight distribution. Number two is controls. How are you going to control all of that speed and power that we are offering you in the Genesis spreaders? Number three, tip design for not only proper placement, but also operator safety. Number four, NFPA 1936 compliance, specifically focusing on that lowest spreading force, or LSF. And number five, and most importantly, sheer practical performance. Okay, let's talk about those ergonomics a little bit. First of all of the Genesis spreaders have a stationary D-ring on top and a movable D-ring on the side. This movable D-ring on the side serves not only as a carrying handle, but also an operating handle. Let's say I'm down in this position doing a modified dash lift. Let's talk about balance a little bit. You can take a look. This cylinder is designed specifically for this 28-inch opening arm, perfectly balanced. The cylinder in my left hand is designed specifically for the 32-inch opening arms. Again, perfectly balanced. Remember, balance in engineering equals less firefighter fatigue. Okay, let's talk about how you can control all of this speed and power with just your fingertips. Remember, all of the Genesis tools operate with a rear-mounted push-button type control valve. This control valve utilizes a fine muscle movement. It's much easier and safer for you to use, plus it's less fatiguing. If we were using a rescue tool that had a twist type control valve, we would be utilizing a gross muscle movement. This control valve is going to be much easier and safer for you to operate with precision in and around that patient. Okay, let's talk about spreader tip design just a little bit. All of the Genesis spreader tips have a series of different size serrations as well as different angles. On the 49XL spreader tip, you can take a look at several small sharp serrations at the very end. What that's going to do is that's going to help you create a good, safe, tight purchase point. A larger serration in the middle of the spreader tip is going to be used for the middle to end portion of your spread. You can also take a look that it has several different angles throughout the entire surface of the spreader tip. And what that's going to do is that's going to be a little bit safer and more productive for you as the operator, because you're going to have a good, safe, tight purchase point throughout the entire arc of that spread. And also, the very base of the spreader tip has a little bit of a flare out. And where's that come into play? That comes into play when you're doing a crush down inside of that window to create a purchase point. What we're concerned about here is operator safety. That's why there's so much time in engineering just in the design of the spreader tips. Okay, let's take a look at another very important part of your rescue tool evaluation. You know, one of the questions that I'm very often asked when I'm out on the field is, why is lowest spreading force, or LSF, the most important spec to look at when you're evaluating a rescue tool? Well, I'll tell you, that all begins right here in the upfront portion of the spread. That LSF is typically obtained in the very beginning portion of the spread. That's why you want that spec to be very high. Think about where you're going to be using a spreader. 90% of your spreads are going to begin right here in a small, tight, confined space, breaking a nadir pin, breaking a hinge, breaking a dash to do a modified dash lift. So that's why that high LSF is so important to you when you're evaluating a spreader. Okay, what are some of the items that we have covered up to this point? Ergonomics, such as engineered balance and weight distribution. Controls. How do we control all of that power and speed that we're offering you? Tip design for not only proper placement, but safe operation for you as a rescuer. NFPA 1936, lowest spreading force. And now, most importantly, let's go out and see some sheer practical performance. Okay, let's recap what we've talked about here today. We've talked about push button type control valve. We've talked about spreader tip design. We've talked about NFPA 1936 compliance as well as lowest spreading force. We've talked about operator safety and performance also. I'd really like to encourage you to call any of your local Genesis distributors for a no-cost, no obligation, free evaluation of the Genesis tools. I'm Kurt with Genesis Rescue Systems. I encourage you to be safe out there. Thanks for watching.